You want war? Then prepare to be erased.
The message arrived in silence. No thunder, no light, just a pattern of radio pulses repeating from the edge of the Kuiper Belt, too precise to be natural, too strange to be human. On the bridge of the ISS Horizon, Commander Arden Hale leaned over the hollow console. His crew waited. The signal pulsed again. 3 beats, pause, 6, pause, 1. It was a rhythm, not a language, like a heartbeat behind glass. Tri-sequence confirmed, said Lieutenant Sato. Origin vector outside Neptune's orbit. Power levels off the scale for anything we've launched. Arden folded his hands behind his back. So they found us first. Earth had listened for a century, dreaming of friendly voices among the stars. What they got instead was a challenge, an invitation written in energy and arrogance. A week later, the Horizon met the source. The alien ship was enormous, a dark geometry that absorbed sunlight. Its hull shimmered with moving symbols. When they hailed it, the reply came as a single phrase translated by the AI. Submit or vanish. No introduction. No diplomacy. Only dominance back on Earth, the Council argued. Some said surrender would spare them. Others said resistance was suicide. Arden didn't speak until the room fell quiet. Then he said the words that would follow him forever. We've spent all of history surviving extinction. Tell them to come and try. The first encounter was brief and brutal. 3 defense satellites turned to dust before they could lock weapons. The alien vessel fired beams that bent gravity, vaporizing oceans where they struck. Yet Earth-endured Arden was recalled to Luna Base 1 to lead the counter-response. When he arrived, he found chaos. Soldiers being fitted into vacuum armor, engineers welding mass drivers onto cargo ships, families boarding evacuation shuttles. Humanity was preparing for a war it didn't understand. In the command dome, General Ruiz handed him a datapad. They're calling it the Seraph Collective. Single hive intelligence. Every ship, every drone, one mind. And we're fighting a god, Arden murmured. Ruiz nodded grimly. Then be our devil. 2 days later, the Horizon returned to the void, armed with weapons untested outside simulation. Arden stood at the viewport, watching Earth's pale blue disk shrink behind him. He thought of his son asleep under a dome of glass, of the promise he'd made to come home. The alien signal filled the comm again. The same rhythm, but faster, mocking. Commander, Sato said softly. They're opening a channel. Put it through. A voice like wind over broken glass filled the bridge. Human pattern Arden Hale. Your species is inefficient. Surrender. You will be integrated. Arden straightened, his reflection gleaming in the viewport. Tell your collective, he said evenly. Humanity doesn't join. Humanity endures. The comm fell silent. Then the stars themselves seemed to flare as the enemy fired. The Horizon shuddered. Shields collapsed in white heat. Alarm screamed. But through the chaos, Hale's voice stayed steady, a calm center in the storm. Return fire. Pattern Omega. The forward rail cannon spat tungsten slugs at half the speed of light. The first volley hit nothing. The second tore a glowing scar across the alien hull. For the first time, something from Earth had drawn alien blood. Cheers broke out on the bridge, short, desperate cheers, until the alien ship split apart and reformed. Healing itself like liquid metal, Sato whispered, Sir, it's learning. Arden's jaw tightened. Then so will we. Outside, the 2 vessels circled each other like predators, light spearing through the dark. Humanity's first war had begun, not out of greed or conquest, but the refusal to kneel. As the Horizon dived into the shadow of Neptune, Arden looked once more at the blue glow of distant Earth and made his quiet vow. If they want war, I'll give them one they'll never forget. And somewhere beyond the frozen horizon, the alien signal changed. No longer a demand, but an answer. The battle near Neptune had ended in chaos and smoke. Fragments of alien alloy still drifted through the void, spinning like shards of black glass. The ISS Horizon limped home, hull scorched, engines barely functional. Half the crew lost. Commander Arden Hale stood in the silent observation deck as Earth rose ahead of him, blue, fragile, alive, and already preparing for the next strike. They had won nothing, but they had survived, and survival, he realized, was victory enough. For now. In the lunar command bunker, the leaders of every nation had gathered under the cold light of holograms. Arden walked in, shoulders stiff, eyes hollow but resolute. The global channel buzzed with tension. The alien transmission had arrived again. This time, not as pulses, but as language. The AI translated it with perfect calm. Your resistance is irrational. You will cease. This is our ultimatum of silence. In one solar cycle, your world will end. The words hung heavy in the air. Even machines seemed to hesitate before repeating them. General Ruiz broke the stillness. They're giving us 24 hours. Someone laughed. A hollow, frightened sound. Why? Why give us time? Because they think it won't matter, Arden said quietly. They think fear will do their work for them. He turned toward the holographic display of Earth, thousands of dots lighting up in orbit. Every one of them, a ship under construction. Everyone, a promise. Then let's show them what fear really looks like. The next hours blurred into motion. Factories burned day and night. Civilian ships were refitted into war vessels. Asteroid colonies stripped themselves of ore to build cannons larger than cities. Every human nation spoke in one voice for the first time in history. They called the Unified Fleet Project Aegis. At its heart stood the Horizon, repaired and reforged into something far more dangerous. Its hull shimmered with experimental armor. Its reactors burned brighter than ever. Humanity's first warship, born from desperation and defiance. When Arden returned to his bridge, the crew rose as one. He saw no fear in their faces now, only purpose. Lieutenant Sato saluted. Orders, sir? He looked through the viewport at the rising Earth, wrapped in a haze of dawn. Transmit to all fleets. I want every ship armed and ready. If they mean to silence us, let's make sure they hear what we say first. That night, the final transmission from the Seraph Collective arrived, not as a message, but as an image. A projection filled the command deck. The alien leader, or something like one, a shifting form of light and shadow, thousands of eyes glimmering across a single surface. Human, you were given mercy. You refuse. You bring extinction. Arden stepped forward, the blue light of the hologram reflecting off the silver emblem on his chest. You call it extinction, he said slowly, but to us it's resistance. You wanted silence. You'll find none here. The alien shape tilted, unreadable. You speak as if you matter. And that was when Hale's tone changed. No longer calm, but thunderous. The voice of a man carrying 10 billion souls. We matter because we choose to. You want war? Then prepare to be erased. The words exploded across every open channel. Every soldier, every miner, every child in the domes of Mars heard them. For the first time, humanity had a single heartbeat. The alien projection vanished. The silence that followed was total. A silence that became humanity's battle cry. In the hours that followed, the first fleets left orbit. Ships streaked through the dark like spears of light. Hale watched them go, 1,000 engines cutting trails across the blackness. Sato joined him at the viewport. Do you think we can win, sir? He didn't answer at first. Then he said softly, No, but we can make sure they remember losing. The Horizon turned toward the outer system. Its engines ignited, scattering the dust of humanity's cradle behind it. In the quiet of the command deck, the crew prepared for what came next. The true war. Beyond Pluto's orbit, space rippled. Something vast was coming, and when it arrived, there would be no more ultimatums. Only survival. The sky burned over half the world before anyone realized it wasn't sunrise. Thousands of streaks, white, crimson, violet, cut through the atmosphere. The Seraph Collective had come in force. In the command center beneath Luna Base 1, Commander Arden Hale watched the feed from orbital satellites. Each light was a ship, descending with the precision of a falling sword. The first beam struck the Pacific. The ocean rose into vapor. The second hit the Andes. The mountains glowed like molten glass. He closed his eyes once, then opened them again, voice steady. Signal the fleet. Phase 1. Hold the line. Across orbit, the Aegis fleet moved into formation. Civilian haulers, mining rigs, scavenged gunships, everything that could fly and fight. Humanity's patchwork army. On the ISS horizon, the bridge hummed with tension. Lieutenant Sato's hands moved across the console. Incoming wave. 3,000 signatures. No pattern we can predict. Arden's eyes tracked the swarm on the holographic display. That's because they don't think in patterns, he said. They think in hunger. Sir? They don't plan. They consume. He keyed the intercom. All stations, this is Commander Hale. The Seraph believe we're a mistake that needs correcting. Let's remind them, humans are very good at making mistakes and surviving them. The bridge answered with a low, determined, "Aye, sir." The first battle for Earth began in silence. Space offered no sound, only flashes of light, bursts of fire, and silent debris tumbling into eternity. The horizon dove through the chaos, its railguns firing bursts of tungsten slugs that shredded alien drones. Human fighters swarmed like hornets, their engines flaring against the night. Sato shouted over the alarms. "Shields at 50. They're targeting our reactors!" Evasive pattern Delta. Arden barked. "Redirect power from life support. If they want us cold, make them earn it." The ship rolled hard, gravity cutting for a heartbeat. A beam of white energy sliced past, close enough to vaporize a trailing antenna. The crew gasped. The hull rang like a bell, but they were still alive, and that meant they could keep fighting. Hours bled together. Entire fleets fell. The European defense grid collapsed over the Atlantic. The Asian flotilla broke apart over Mars' orbit. But for every ship lost, another rose from the yards. For every human death, 10 more stood in their place. Earth was no longer waiting to be saved. It was fighting to the last breath. Arden stood in the command pit as fire rained outside. Sato's voice trembled. "They're pushing us back to orbit, sir." "Good," Hale said. "Then they're close enough to hit." He turned to the gunnery chief. "Prepare the Leviathan." Every eye on the bridge widened. The Leviathan was Earth's final weapon, a coil gun the size of a mountain built into the lunar crust. It had never been fired. It might destroy the moon itself. But hesitation was no longer a luxury. "Confirm trajectory," Arden ordered. "Target their command vessel." Sato hesitated. "If we miss, we won't." On Luna's far side, the Leviathan woke. Miles of superconducting rails lit up like dawn, arcing electricity into the void. The Seraph flagship loomed ahead, a vast obsidian sphere haloed by energy. Inside it, the hive mind pulsed in rhythm with the stars. Arden watched the targeting reticle lock into place. Fire. The moon shook. A lance of blinding blue light leapt across space, faster than thought. For one impossible second, it pierced the Seraph command vessel straight through its heart. Then, silence. The alien ship did not explode. It imploded, collapsing into a sphere of darkness that swallowed its own light. The shockwave rippled across space, tearing through the enemy ranks. Cheers broke across the comms, ragged and unbelieving. Sato exhaled. "Direct hit. The command node is gone." Arden didn't cheer. He watched as the black sphere expanded, slowly, unstoppably. "It's not gone," he said. "It's dying, and it means to take us with it." The collapsing singularity dragged debris, ships, and fragments of the fleet toward it. Alarms screamed as gravity itself twisted. "Evacuate orbit," Arden roared. "All ships break off now!" The horizon's engines howled. The stars stretched and warped. Hull plates tore from stress, and yet, through the chaos, Hale stood unshaken. He looked at the dying alien world in miniature, the heart of the collective imploding, and whispered, "That's the fire of Earth. You tried to erase us. You taught us how." Hours later, only fragments of the fleet remained. The moon was scarred, its surface cracked and glowing. Earth's atmosphere shimmered with auroras from electromagnetic shock. But the alien ships were gone. Humanity had survived the first strike. Barely. As medics moved among the wounded, Arden sat alone in the dim command deck. The glow of the dying battle reflected in his eyes. His body ached. His heart was heavier than ever. Sato approached quietly. "Sir, we won." He didn't look away from the window. "No," he said softly. "We bought time." Outside the stars flickered, and in their silence he sensed it. The Seraph weren't finished. Something out there was still watching, and it had learned. For 3 days, Earth dared to believe it had survived. Cities began to rebuild under skies still bruised from fire. Ships limped home, scarred and silent, bearing names painted in soot and blood. The world was wounded, but alive. And for humanity, that was enough reason to stand tall. Commander Arden Hale watched the sunrise over a fractured Luna horizon. The once smooth plains were jagged now, silvered with new craters and cracks that bled faint light. Below, Earth turned slowly in blue and gold. For the first time since the war began, he let himself breathe. That peace lasted exactly 13 minutes. "Commander," said Lieutenant Sato, voice shaking. "Long-range sensors just picked up movement." Arden turned toward the display. The data feed pulsed irregularly, then resolved into hundreds, no, thousands, of signatures, stretching across the outer system. "Are those survivors?" he asked. Sato swallowed. "No, sir. Those are arrivals." Outside Neptune's orbit, space itself rippled. The void opened in silent blossoms of violet light. From each tier, something crawled through, sleek black constructs glowing with threads of red energy. The Seraph had returned, and this time they were not alone. The Council called it the Second Descent. What had once been a single hive intelligence had fragmented. Now there were dozens, splinters of the Seraph mind, autonomous, unpredictable, hungry. "They're adapting," Arden said during the briefing. His voice was level, but his eyes were tired. "The first collective acted like a single organism. These," he gestured to the writhing patterns on the hologram. "These are predators." General Ruiz looked grim. "Then what's the plan?" Arden didn't hesitate. "We take the fight to them." A silence filled the room. No one disagreed. They all knew Earth couldn't endure another invasion. It was time to strike before the sky broke completely. The Horizon led the spearhead into the outer system. Every ship that could fly followed. Mining freighters with cannons welded to their hulls, Martian frigates, Jovian ice runners, an armada born of desperation. They called the operation Broken Sky. As the fleet moved into position, Hale stood at the viewport, stars drifting like dust around him. Sato approached quietly. "Do you ever wonder if this is how it ends, sir?" Hale smiled faintly. "It always ends. The trick is choosing why." Then the Seraph came. The first wave hit near Uranus orbit. Space tore open in violet fire. Dozens of enemy ships unfolded like wings of glass, their energy lances cutting through the dark. The human fleet answered in kind. Railguns thundered. Drones ignited like falling stars. Whole carriers vanished in seconds. The Horizon dove through the storm, its armor melting, its cannons roaring. Hale's voice carried across every open channel, steady, commanding, fearless. "Focus fire."
"Shield your allies!"
"We're not dying quietly!" Through shattered glass and burning metal, humanity pushed forward inch by inch until they reached the heart of the swarm, a vast pulsing structure shaped like a sphere of lightning. "The Seraph Hive reborn. Target the core," Hale ordered. All ships on my mark, but the Hive was faster. Its energy spiked, sensors overloaded. In the next instant, a beam like a sunrise erupted, slicing through the fleet. Hale felt the shock wave hit. The bridge went white. When the glare faded, half the armada was gone. Sato's voice trembled. "We've lost the valiant, dauntless Tianlong." "Sir, we're the only capital ship left." Hale's heart clenched. "Then we finish what they started." He turned to the weapons officer. "Prepare the core drive." The crew stared. The order was madness. The Horizon's core was a fusion sun contained by fields. It could power cities for centuries, or destroy a moon in seconds. Sato stepped closer. "Sir, that's a suicide burn." Arden met her eyes. "It's a victory burn," he keyed the comms. Across the fleet, battered survivors listened to their commander's final broadcast. "This is Commander Hale of the ISS Horizon. We've come farther than anyone believed possible. The Seraph think they know war, they don't. They know consumption. We know sacrifice. If they want silence, let's teach them what a human scream sounds like in the dark." The Horizon accelerated straight into the Hive. Shields disintegrated. Armor peeled away. The crew held their breath as space folded around them. Inside the alien core, the walls shimmered with faces, millions of them, stolen memories of conquered species. They whispered in 100 languages, all blending into one thought. "Join us." Hale's hands gripped the controls. His voice was calm, almost gentle. "Humanity doesn't join." He triggered the core. Light consumed the sky. For one heartbeat, the universe went quiet. No signal, no transmission, no sound. Then came the shockwave, brighter than any sun. It tore through the Seraph fleet, shattering them into dust. The void burned gold and white. Hours later, scattered human ships found only fragments where the Horizon had been. The Hive was gone. The Seraph had vanished. Sato's voice came across the emergency channel, hoarse but steady. "He did it. Commander Hale did it. The sky's broken, but we're still here. From Earth, the explosion was seen as a second sunrise. Brief, terrible and beautiful, and in its fading light, humanity realized what they had become, a species that refused to bow, even to the gods. For the first time in months, the solar system was silent. The battlefields were gone. No ships, no signals, no cries for help. Only drifting metal and pale dust scattered across the dark. The war was over, but the stars still burned with the memory of it. In orbit above Earth, a single frigate limped through the void, its hull fractured, engines flickering like dying candles. Inside, Lieutenant Sato sat at the forward viewport, eyes red from exhaustion. Every hour she replayed the last message from Commander Arden Hale. His voice, steady as stone, echoing across the comms just before the horizon vanished in light. If you see dawn again, don't mourn us. Build something from it. Because the Seraph will come again, and next time, we'll be ready. The recording ended, leaving the cabin hollow and still. Outside, fragments of alien architecture drifted past, shards of glass-like metal glowing faintly, whispering with static. Some pieces were larger than cities, others as small as a human heart, and every one of them was dead. Weeks passed. Humanity began to emerge from the ashes. Cities lit their skies again. The surviving fleets returned to dock, bearing survivors like ghosts. On Luna, the memorial began. They carved Hale's name, along with thousands of others, into the black stone facing Earth. No ranks, no nations, just humans. At the dedication, Sato stood before the gathered crowd. Her uniform was torn, her medals dulled by soot. When she spoke, her voice was raw, but clear. Commander Hale once said, "War doesn't define us, what we do after it does." She looked up at the fractured moon. He believed that we weren't born for conquest, but for endurance. To take what breaks us and make it into something stronger. She paused, letting the silence settle. We survived because we refused to become what they were. No applause followed, just quiet respect, the kind that carried more weight than sound. That night, as the stars rose over the repaired dome, Sato sat alone by the viewport again. Her console flickered, an alert. Weak, broken coordinates from beyond the Oort cloud. She frowned. That can't be. The signal repeated. 3 pulses, then static. It wasn't Seraph code. It was human. Her heart pounded. She ran the frequency through decryption. The audio burst alive, distorted but undeniable. "This is Commander Arden Hale. If anyone's receiving, don't come for me. I'm still inside the hive." Then only silence. Sato stared at the console, breath caught between hope and dread. He was alive, somewhere out there beyond the reach of light. The council wanted to classify it, to bury it, but rumors spread faster than orders. Soon, across every colony and station, whispers grew. The commander lives. Pilots began painting the emblem of the horizon on their ships. Engineers named their new reactors after him. Soldiers carried his final words as a creed. If you see dawn again, build something from it. A movement began. Not of vengeance, but of vigilance. Humanity was no longer waiting to be found. It was preparing to reach outward, and in the silence between the stars, something stirred, far beyond Neptune's orbit. In a place where light bent wrong, a fragment of the destroyed Seraph hive floated intact. Inside, flickers of organic light pulsed like dying embers. At its center, a single human figure drifted in suspension, wrapped in faint energy threads. His eyes were closed, but his pulse still beat. Steady as a drum, when they opened again, they were no longer entirely human. Arden Hale looked through the veil of the hive's memory and whispered, "You wanted war. You wanted to erase us. Now you've made us something that can't be erased." The light around him brightened, gold and violet merging into something new. Then the stars themselves seemed to tremble, as if they, too, understood what was coming next. In the centuries that followed, they would tell stories about the first human who looked into the void and didn't blink. They would name fleets after him, worlds, even an era. But for now, as dawn rose over Earth's broken sky, only one truth mattered. Humanity had survived its trial by fire. It had lost its hero, but gained a legend. And somewhere in the endless dark, that legend was still awake. Watching, waiting, for when the stars would burn again.